Says you're on, but my screen says NULL
No,
with an exclamation point.
let's see.
It says excellent connection, and we're still moving, so.
Let's see what YouTube says. Says I don't have Wi-Fi.
Appear to be on.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 22nd, 2024 Ware Board of Selectmen's meeting. We started approximately 6:33 this evening with a non-public session for the purposes of 2 exit interviews. However, due to scheduling issues, only one showed up. So I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There's a change to the agenda. Finance Administrator Beth is not able to join us this evening. We apologize for any inconvenience this causes to anyone who's specifically here tonight to hear that or tuning in online for her topic. We will get that rescheduled in the very near future. As far as the non-public session that we had earlier, it was an exit interview, and our practice is to seal and restrict those minutes, so I'd like to make a motion to seal and restrict those minutes from this evening.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Thank you very much. That moves us to public comment.
Jack Meany, 282 Quaker Street, Ware. I am here tonight to speak about the Conservation Commission and the work done on a property for Mrs. Burdick. And my question is, back on the 13th of September, in the meeting, Conservation Commission made out for her to go and have access across conservation land and a road to go into her property to do some logging, that she was going to be responsible for any and all upgrades and repairs to that road. And that was in their minutes of the September 13th meeting. Concerning the March 13th meeting, it appears that now they want to put culvert crossings in there, and that they want to spend $1,500 of their money, and it's not going to be put towards, or Mrs. Burdick is not going to be paying for that. And to me, I want to know what the story is with that, for the simple fact is, shouldn't be using public funds for private work if she had the agreement to do that. My other question is, and the vice chairman knows this quite well, is that putting culverts and crossings in, who's doing the permitting? Who's getting the permits to do that? If it's involving crossings like that, they have to go to DES. Mr. Fulton, working for DES, should know that, and that they should make sure that that's brought forth to the town. And that's my questions on that. And they should not be allowed to use the public funds for private work or to upgrade something to benefit a private person. And especially in the past, with this, some of this board that was sitting, voted against Mr. Herrick of Hopkinton Forestry to do a crossing on a road, and he may also made an agreement, or tried to do the Barden property by fixing that road and to turn around at his expense, and to turn around and take some buildings down that are up there, and they denied that. It seems like it's a double standard, and I think that that's not proper, and in the so-called vision of transparency, it didn't seem very transparent, especially where Mrs. Burdick was sitting on the Board of Selectmen and came out and said that Mr. Herrick was her cousin, and she could not vote on that one way or the other. And then when the vote finally came down, she did not vote as a member of the Board of Selectmen, but she did vote as a member of the Conservation Commission.
And that was on the Barden property?
That's right, and
Okay,
that
thank you.
smacks of being unethical and inappropriate all the way around. The other thing I'd like to know is, in my diminished capacity while I was sitting at home recuperating from surgery, I had the minutes that I requested from the Conservation Commission on expenditures. Part of it was to put in a pay for work done on property, and one of them was to have somebody come in and spray for invasive plants. And they did that. Now, they did through the Meadowlands, the forester. My question for that is, we did that in the town, and Selectman Knapp knows that quite well. We had to jump through hoops, and as I sat on that board, to get the proper permits, to get somebody that's licensed from the state and have that shown, and to also have them list the chemicals. I don't see anything where they brought that forth to the town, and I think the town, being it town property, and the town's paying for this, that they should make sure that this guy, whoever does it, is licensed, and before they approve it, it should come to the board, and that stuff should be made public, as far as that stuff, some of that is hazardous chemicals and could impact other issues. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna make a verbal order for 91A to get the bills for the rest of the project on Route 77 for that logging operation with Mrs. Burdick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Campana, Quaker Street. I see the police chief is here tonight to speak to the communications, radio. My public comment is really, was actually seeded last week by a public comment by a resident, former selectman, but now resident. Mr. Hippler encouraged the board not to lose track of that project. It seems like it's a necessity, certainly not a luxury. So I'm just curious, it raises the question, not curious, raises the question to me, is why does it take the comment of a private citizen for such a serious issue that to bring that to the board, saying don't forget it, don't lose track of it. In fact, Mr. Hippler also stated that there had been some purchases made towards that project. I don't know what they were, but it doesn't make any difference. But I find it an odd coincidence that the police chief is here after that public comment by someone to speak to that project. He seems to be the go-to person from what, I've heard him speak several times to that. And in regards to that, I have the last time that I knew he spoke to that project, I know I've been accused of misinformation, so like I say, I have to qualify. The last time that I know specifically that he spoke to that project was back in November 6th of '23. Chief and I sat in on the meeting. Chief Moore gave an update on the tower. He had to go for a zoning board variance for the tower facilities. The purchase application process from the manufacturer, and once all the paperwork is received by some engineer, Trillion, will be provided, and the stamped foundation plan. Once the foundation plan is received, they will obtain a building permit, and they will go out for bid for the concrete work. They are in a holding pattern until next spring. A lot of that discussion at that meeting was we're getting into wintertime, you don't want to do concrete work. And it went, well, certainly for something like that, I guess. I mean, I know they can do concrete in the wintertime, but I'm not questioning that should be the case for, a tower base. So I don't know, again, I don't know what the equipment is. I haven't been by the East Ware Fire Station. I don't know if there's a tower sitting on the ground or somewhere on town property. I don't know what other equipment was bought that Mr. Hippler was referring to, but I think it's way past into springtime, when the person that seems to be in charge of that project was not here prior to a private individual asking the selectmen not to forget the project. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're all so tall. Eileen Meany, Quaker Street. I was listening to last week's meeting, and I just had a comment about the process around cemetery improvements. So as I understand it, the Board of Selectmen is now currently in charge of all the cemeteries in the town of Ware, which Selectman Pratt was quick to point out last week. He'd been doing some research, and I appreciated that statistic, that there are somewhere between 30 and 40 cemeteries that the town of Ware is responsible for. So as much as I appreciate the fact that a private citizen came forward to propose a plan, I was concerned about several elements, about the discussion, about the decision-making, and about the direction forward. And so I wanted to come in tonight to just make a couple of suggestions and recommendations. Because we do have so many cemeteries, I think that focusing, I believe the amount of money that was discussed last week was somewhere in the ballpark of $35,000 for improvements to one particular cemetery. That individual had, to her comment, reached out to 3 organizations, was able to bring in one prospectus for payment of what that would cost. That's outside of our purchase policy. That's outside of, especially that level of money and funding. That's outside of what this particular board has established as a route forward or a path forward when it would come to a capital improvement project of that nature, of that level. My recommendation would be to take a step back. As I understand it, there was a vote last week to move to request some $35,000 from the Mildred Hall Fund for the repairs for that one cemetery. And my recommendation would be to take a step back and to look at the bigger picture. That's just one cemetery of the 40 that you're responsible for. This is outside of the policy and the way that you would choose to move forward. It would seem that it would require a bit more planning, a bit more thoughtful approach in trying to ensure that this is a more comprehensive project. And I think that if there was going to be proposals put on the table, that they would be obtained through an RFP, and that would be done in a transparent manner so that we could see all of the options in front of us. And so I was a little concerned about how that process seemed to roll out last week, and I really would like for this to be looked at a little more comprehensively. Thanks.
If you don't mind, I'll respond to a little bit about that. We did hear from a person last week, and they brought forward a proposal for one cemetery. That's absolutely correct. It is outside of the purchasing policy, and we did not say we were going to spend that money, but if we could get a private individual, other people's money to fund something like that, I think it was worth exploring. That's why we did that.
My
But if we-
response to
yeah.
that is just that
Your other point, I totally understand, and I'm actually thinking that maybe we need to have a separate cemetery meeting because being trustees is new to all of us.
Yes.
So I know there's a lot of things that need to be done that we aren't doing, more than likely. So I do think probably I think you called it a step back and look at things is probably a good idea.
Thank you.
Tom Clow, 125 Concord Stage Road. Just something related to what Mrs. Meady just said, but as I went home from the last meeting thinking about asking for private funds for work on the inside of the cemetery, I thought that's what Cypre funds were for, is to do work within the cemetery, and that the board many years appropriates money for things that are outside of the cemetery, like stone walls or something like that. But I was confused, if you want to say that, as to why cypre money wasn't covering the cost of what she was talking about, rather than needing to go to a private fund for that. I don't know the answer, but that's something I question.
Okay. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, I'd like to recognize DPW Director Fisk. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Sure. So I guess we can start with tree removal at East Ware Cemetery. I guess a little backstory for the couple of you that weren't involved in it. Last year, we had a resident complaint about trees, limbs falling, breaking the fence, falling into their driveway, taking out their power lines. So the board asked me to go out and get some quotes for tree removal. I did, for about 15 pine trees along that side of the cemetery. And I didn't go out to bid. It was just trying to get some quotes. They ranged from $12,000 to $17,000. So I don't know if I was given bad information or how it worked out, but cypre, we only had $10,000, and by the time we got bids or quotes, it was kind of the end of December, and the project just kind of fizzled out from there. So, knowing what we know now, we're going to need at least that much. That doesn't include any trees along Buzzell Hill on the side of the road that are actually pretty rotten, and whatever else is left in Pine Grove on the opposite side of the road, that should probably be taken down.
Okay.
I will say that the crew went out on Friday and cleared out one tree that was falling down in Pine Grove. And on the opposite side of the street, we did address another complaint that we had from a resident about the cemetery, with some rather large holes in the fence, or near the fence line in the ground. The crew did a really good job taking some old sand that was piled up in the middle of the cemetery and cleaning up some trees that were growing out of that, and made the cemetery, that portion of it actually look pretty decent. I think they did a stellar job, so I want to give a shout out to them for that.
Thank you. So, not for specifically for you, Jason, but as I mentioned during the public comment, it does seem like we're very reactive in piecemealing the cemetery duties. So, Naomi, I'm not sure what we can do, now that we're cemetery trustees, or I guess it's been going on, but maybe I'm speaking more for myself now that I'm a cemetery trustee. Suggestions on how we can get ahead and get a handle on this. Is that maybe just calling a special meeting for us to get recalibrated on what all needs to be done with the cemeteries and how we move forward?
Yeah, are you looking for just doing, or the last time I had Terry Knowles come in and do a presentation as to your requirements and your duties as trustees? Is that what you're looking for?
I think
That
both.
was a separate night.
Yeah, I think both.
You want to revisit that?
Foundational and then more of a
I'll have
plan
to see.
forward.
She used to work, as everyone may or may not know, she used to work at the Charitable Trust Division at the AG's office, and so she did all the training for the trustees of trust fund and the cemetery trustees. So I can call her again for availability. She came in before and gave the last crew the training, and then, but it was a separate night. And then from there, I guess we can go off and look at what involves. I do have, am working with a couple of burials that are on the horizon for May, which I'm just trying to get confirmation from everybody before. The first one is May 4th. So we'll have to go probe the lot. It's for an urn, so we'll have to go probe, and then Dignified attends on our behalf and does the certificate, and the family's going to pay them. But there's more steps to after you learn the trustee part as to selling lots, burials, things like that.
Okay.
So we can start with Terry if that's what you want to do. I'll check her schedule.
Makes sense.
Yeah, please. Thank you for letting me hijack part of your time.
Sure. Would you like me to do anything further with the tree removal, or?
I don't think so at this point. I mean, I know it needs to be done, but we're gonna have to figure out
Is
how
there any
and,
more that's currently down in the cemetery at the moment that needs to be cleaned up, or?
There's still a tree down in Quaker Street. Naomi emailed me last week. So we were able to get to the one on Buzzell Hill on Friday. We weren't able to get over to Quaker Street, but we'll do that next week.
That is one you can take care of.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell in the picture if you could or not, so.
Yeah, it's way off the road. The guys are gonna have to lug the wood a little bit to the chipper, but shouldn't be a big deal. It's not that big of a tree either. I drove by yesterday and looked at it, so.
Can I just ask, we also got an email I shared to you guys from the gentleman that does the the cemetery lawn care, providing 2 bills for extra work, which is not in the contract. One of the pictures I thought was the tree, who cleaned up the tree? Because did you guys get the same understanding that it was the tree that he just said they cleaned up? Or did you not?
I did.
Okay, I guess I'm trying to understand when they got there, was someone cleaning it up?
No, they were blowing leaves on the opposite side of the cemetery. I don't know if it's the same crew or not, but there was somebody out there.
Yeah, same guy was cleaning, but he also sent us a picture. I'm trying to find it.
Was it the 2 pictures you emailed me?
No, there were new ones. There was damage to the solar light, but then there was, these 2 trees were extra. That appears to be the Pine Grove. That was not in the area that I told you, because
Yep.
that was over at the flag. This is what I thought you guys,
No.
that's not what you cleaned up?
No.
Okay. So it was an additional,
Okay.
that clarifies that. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm hoping this can be the final draft. Number 7 was added in. The case that the student failed out of training as far as the CDL training goes. And as far as paying somebody those 6 weeks, $6,400. Class is not an everyday thing, so we could still utilize somebody within those 6 weeks as well. So that's $6,400 is actually a full 6 weeks at 40 hours. So that wouldn't be the case, but I just can't tell you for sure how much would be education and how much would be working at the town.
So the classes are, like, you sign up and it's a certain number of classes.
Yep.
So what, number 6, where it says called active duty or granted leave of absence, it would extend accordingly. Would you have to pay a whole new set of classes?
I don't know that 100%. I would assume that the school would work with you on that, but
That's what I didn't know too.
Yeah, I thought when we talked about it before, number 6 had more to do with the 24-month period. But I could be misrecollecting that. Or it's not clear and we need to make it clear. Or both.
yeah. I mean, typically, somebody's got a pretty good idea whether or not they're gonna get deployed or not.
Yeah, for the next 6 weeks, probably, yeah.
To your point, it does say in the 4th paragraph, period of 24 months following the completion of the training. So I would take that to mean the period would be those 24 months.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a bad thing to spell it out.
No, it's probably fine. We're, like you said, all these do fall under those 4 paragraphs.
Got one little quibble. On number 2, where it says, "Student will serve as a driver with the town until the completion of all required training and licensing as a CDLB driver." So like, what if you had, I mean, anybody else in town, but like, what if you had like a transfer station guy, said, "Hey, I'd really like to switch over and become a driver." You said, "Yeah, we'll pay for your training," but then they'd have to move over immediately and become a driver and then get the training, which they may fail. So I would suggest loosening that up, because we on the next line say they'll serve as an employee. I would loosen number 2 up and just say student will serve as an employee with the town.
Number 5 and number 6 might make more sense as far as the 24-month period to renumber those as 4C and 4D, because they are specifically referring to the 24-month period. Anything else?
Does 6 really fall under 4 though?
I'd put them under, if you're doing that, I mean, they may belong under 3.
Okay.
I suppose if you're gonna do it that way, yeah, they fit better under 3.
3.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them either way.
6 to 3.
I think we were saying 5 and 6 be like 3 A and B, is that what you're saying, Salem?
5 and 6, 3, A and B, yeah, yeah. The other thing I'm looking for is, because I think we talked verbally that you would get to make this determination on who gets it and who doesn't get it. But I think it may be worth spelling that out, like somewhere in here at the determination of the DPW director or board of selectmen or whomever we want to do, just so nobody's like, well, this guy did it, why don't I, like, I filled out my paperwork, why don't I get to do it? And just spell out that it's not necessarily for everybody.
Student and the town do mutually agree. If the town doesn't mutually agree, then
But who gets to enter into the agreement for the town?
Naomi's signature's on the back page.
Which, and that's what made me wonder, because we had talked about you doing it.
We can put my name there.
I mean, even, because I don't want to have to make you come back again for like, I'm trying to make this not substantial, but if it's like, whereas the town, comma, and I'm trying to come up with something on the fly, like, under the decision of the Department of Public Works Director, comma, agrees to provide.
Under discretion of
Anybody else think?
DPW director.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
So you put that under the, whereas the town agrees under the direction of the.
Yep.
DPW.
Yeah, that's what, I was thinking, just throw a comma, jam a sentence fragment in there.
How about you, Dave?
Good, nothing to add.
Okay. Any other feedback?
Do we need to write down, or do we already have a practice for, okay, you're gonna enter into an agreement, on behalf of the town, then what happens to this paperwork? I would assume the town keeps a copy, and you would give the person a copy, and I would assume the town clerk takes a copy, or do you normally?
Finance usually holds, I
Finance.
believe, we have some EMS that do the same way, and the agreement stays with the finance administrator.
Okay.
Just add that at the bottom.
So, and all I'm looking for is, okay, we're gonna talk about the process right now, so the first time you do this, it's not like, well, it's in my drawer somewhere, and then we need it, you know.
Just make sure the finance, put it on the bottom that, you know, copy the finance. And copy the employee file.
Like under the signatures?
Yeah.
Yeah, just CC. And, yeah, I don't think anything we talked about is substantial enough to need to see it again.
Okay. Anybody
Cap-
object?
Do you capture all those that you need to?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what you have in front of you be a contract from CMA Engineers. They do our reporting for the landfill already. We're contracted with them for that. This is just for the engineering portion of the repair on the landfill. This is their estimate that they gave me for it. I had a real quick down and dirty estimate from them last year to get the numbers for the warrant article. But this is a little bit more official.
And can you repeat what you said it only covers?
The engineering for the plans to fix the landfill.
Okay. And then,
We'd have to go ahead and put the work out to bid.
Do you, I mean, I guess I'm hoping you know the answer, but, given that we approved 100,000 and this could potentially cost 43, do we have 57 to actually do the work?
150.
Was it 150?
Yeah.
Okay. What am I thinking of?
That's okay. Finish
Well,
your
same
question. It's still a valid
Same
question.
question. Like, would 107 cover the work needed to be done?
It's the estimate that they gave me, November, I believe.
Okay.
So that's what we based our, article on.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, just to follow that was a yes, we believe the 150 will cover both,
Yeah.
both segments, okay.
$43.
So the end of the year, we needed to develop a ROM to put the warrant article together. These folks gave us the ROM, and now this is the only quote that we have, or did we actually go out to anyone else?
So we didn't go out to anybody else. We're already contracted with these people to do work for our landfill cap.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we went with them. That's something you would like to do.
What's the scope of that agreement? I'm not familiar with it, I'm sorry.
Finance has a direct copy of it. I don't
Okay.
with me right now. I don't want to speak to it and misspeak. Can probably email it over to you guys tomorrow.
They're the company that's always been hired for the monitoring of it,
Monitoring?
so they're familiar with,
They capped it originally, they designed it.
the very originally don't know.
I don't have
Just as long as I've been here, they've been the ones that have been the monitoring of the gap. And the end of the year reporting, so.
Yeah, they do quarterly inspections, end of the year reporting. Eastern Analytical does a sampling of the wells, but
No problem is nobody else would have any, they'd be starting from scratch.
oh yeah, 100%.
Only thing I would like to do is mention to them that they obviously missed something in their inspection.
Very much so.
Maybe you'd be reminded of that in the future.
Well, they're probably gonna tell you it was the unprecedented amount of rain.
No, you had a drainage pipe that's been plugged for years. That's what happened, it backed water up there on the membrane, the dirt slid off the membrane, but
They have all since been located and cleared.
right.
And does that fall under our agreement with them?
Again, I'll
Yeah.
check. I don't wanna
Okay.
misspeak.
Yeah. And so given the schedule that they include, so starting at the end, they say active construction, we'll talk about 30 days this fall, and then backing up from that, regulatory review, 4 weeks, design, 4 to 6 weeks. So we're on the outside, 10 weeks necessary before 30 days in the fall. So, I mean, if we called 30 days in the fall,
September,
September, and then 10 weeks before September, where does that put us? So,
August, July, mid-June,
yeah, so we've got,
we have a little while.
yeah. just to answer some of the questions. We've got at least a month and a half.
Yeah, I would like to see the original agreement, the monitoring agreement. And then if we have any information about this blocked drainage pipe and whether or not that was in scope or not, that may help us understand the current state. Anything else you guys want to see?
But same thing on the timeline. I think we do have some questions, but if we decided that we did have to put it out to bid, it would have to be, we'd have to have everything back by mid-June.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be, kind of be the problem with trying to start over if somebody new is.
It's gonna take them longer than 10 weeks.
Right. At the end of the day, the state's telling us we gotta fix this, so. We start over with somebody brand new to research that.
Yep.
We might not make it. I don't know if we have an actual deadline on it, but they told us to get to it.
I think we'd be pushing this into next year.
I don't wanna put it out any further, but.
Okay. Anything else as far as background on landfill cap? Okay. All right.
River Road Bridge, I reached out, I haven't got an answer, as far as how far along we are on the weight rating process for the old bridge yet. I know myself, Naomi, and, DOT, we're supposed to have a meeting, and, our times didn't align, so we did a little back and forth in email.
Yeah, I think our meeting's May 1st,
Yeah,
as far as the new part. I
Yeah.
don't know about the weight part.
yeah. So, as far as the new project, we don't really have much.
Not
At
till
this
after we meet with her,
But-
yeah.
Yeah, we should have in, another week or so.
And that's with the state?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the same person you've been dealing with all
Yeah,
along?
she's our person, and you have to follow her schedule.
Yeah.
It's always the first Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yep, so it's May 1st.
Was that meeting sets up for what?
We have to check in, make sure we've done all the steps before we can move to the next step. She's the one in charge.
Okay.
So we have to wait for her to give us the blessing, and we can go to the next step, but it's not until we meet with her.
That's design phases
Yes,
next.
yes, the design is next, yes.
If I could simplify it, tell me if I'm correct or not, it's basically everything that we did to select the design company.
Yeah, you had to show her every step
She
you
has to
made.
look at all of that
Then
information.
if we didn't miss a step, because you're talking federal and state money, then we can get to the next one. Now we've selected, he's on the list, and now we get their okay to start the design.
So you mentioned removing the 6-ton weight limit, at least temporarily, and you said that you've gone back and forth, but we really don't have any new information on that.
No, we got the contract from Jacobs. You guys set some year-end money aside last year to move forward with that, so, I signed, the agreement with him and got that sent out to him. They're working on it. I just don't have a hard update for you guys on.
So it is still in work?
Yep.
Okay. It's not abandoned.
No.
Okay.
Hopefully
I'd like
it gets
it
it put
open.
on before we tear it down.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can take the signs down for a
Down
little
before we
while.
tear the boat, yeah.
Well, we can at least take them down and put new signs down. Road closed. Yeah. So, okay. Well, keep us updated on that, as I know you will. Okay.
Anything else for me?
How's it going with Matt? Matt McLean, right?
Good. I had a couple potential prospects. Few of them found some jobs before I could get them into a selectmen's meeting. I did get, I think, 3 applications this weekend. So I'm gonna talk to them in the morning. I have 2 interviews set up for tomorrow. So that process is moving along. Matt's doing good up there, cleaning stuff up slowly and surely. Trying to figure out a better system for the paper trailer roofs. Not sure if it's gonna be any better than it was, but we got something planned for this week. Hopefully we can get that figured out.
And just to clarify, you didn't say paper trailer, you said paper trailer roof?
Paper trailer, yeah.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
didn't want anybody to think we were talking about a paper trail not being adequate.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was at the Pine Grove Cemetery, I was just checking to see what it looked like, and obviously I got there and everything was done. Couldn't
Yep.
figure out what was wrong, but no. I saw the tire track, so I figured you guys had been there. There is a top of a tree that came down in Pine Grove. It's to the back left. It's not really in the way of anything, but you guys are out there. You just clean that up.
Back left.
Yeah.
Sure. When did you drive through there?
Saturday.
Okay.
And you still have some RFPs outstanding from the 2024 town vote, right? What's your timeline on those, do you know? Off the top of your head?
I have the trailer caddy that, for some reason, the company that I was working with, either their bid got lost in the mail or they didn't send it in time. It never showed up here. They called and said they sent it, but, so been working on getting a better RFP out for that, and hopefully they can, send one and we can get it in. They were the only one who was actually interested, as far as I know. But I'd like to make sure it gets all done the right way, instead of just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. But if that goes through, we're 7-8 weeks until we can get that. Everything else that I've put out should be awarded. Truck's been ordered. Body plows have been ordered. Chip coating. They said we were getting on the schedule. He hasn't given me a date for it yet, but called him a couple weeks ago, let him know. So we're on track with that. As far as road work, pavement, I have been trying to work with a couple residents. There's a road with a horrible turnaround that I'm trying to ask the people if they'll either give us a right of way or give us permission to extend the road 50 feet to make the turnaround a little bit better. So that's in the works. And then I'll have to, if that goes through, I'll have to work with Naomi and do all the zoning, planning board stuff that needs to get done there, surveying and whatnot. But as soon as I can get that figured out, I'm gonna put my pavement bids out, so.
Okay.
We talked last week about speed limit on Flanders,
Yeah,
and if there's any, like audit of the roads and whatnot. Do you have any of that information?
no. No, I would've loved to have had some software to have all that information.
Well,
That could've been a nice report I could've printed out for you guys or the police chief, but
maybe that'll end up in this year's proposed budget,
Yeah.
like last year's.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would've been a nice addition, but, yeah. That's the way it turns out, I guess.
Okay. Anything else for Jason? Anything else for us?
Nothing.
No, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay. I'd like to recognize Chief Moore, Police Chief Moore.
All right, so we'll just go down a list. First is an annual contract with the SPCA if we use their services. It's just the rate sheet of what they charge. Typically how it works, if we can't identify an owner and we have to turn an animal over to SPCA, once the owner comes forward, the owner gets charged with the charges. However, if they can't find the owner, which has happened twice since I've been here, then I have a line to pay for those costs. It's been a couple $100s in the 5 years I've been here, so.
So is that the if part?
Yes, if we have to use them, if they can't find an owner.
If they can't find an
We
owner.
don't use them very much. Typically, with the program, we use Dog Lookup Online, where we can access the licenses, animal licenses. We can usually identify an owner, give them a call, and dogs are united with the owners pretty quickly. Very rarely do we use the SPCA.
And are the rates good for how long? Or is it a
And it's
defined
an annual
period?
contract. They send me
Annual?
this every year.
And who signed it in the past?
Me. I come to the board gives me permission to sign it, since it's a contract, and then I sign it and send it back to them.
Okay. Questions, concerns? Okay. So you need a motion to allow yourself to sign the SPCA documented rate structure on behalf of the town, correct?
Yes, ma'am?
I'd like to make such motion. Anyone like to second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? No abstentions, I assume, because I heard 5, correct? Okay,
Did you give him permission to sign it as well?
yes.
Next is the 2 vehicles going to auction. One is vehicle 4, which was a 2017 Dodge Charger, approved by the voters to be replaced with a 2024 Chevrolet Tahoe through the 2024 Waretown ballot Article 12. That Tahoe has been ordered, still being in the process of being manufactured. We do not have a projected date of delivery. The Dodge was unusable due to transmission issues. We did switch multiple parts out of it prior to sending it to auction. So we got the rear differential, put it into 3, I believe. We switched the bumper onto 5, couple other things just to lower repair costs on other Dodges we're still gonna have in service. So we did everything we could with it. Ospey Mountain came down, took everything, all emergency equipment, either made it inoperative or took it off of that, as well as vehicle 1, which was a 2013 Ford Explorer. That was replaced with a 2023 Chevy Tahoe through a Department of Justice grant. Tahoe has been received. We're still waiting the upfit from Ospey Mountain. As soon as it's upfit, we will be putting the graphics on there. The Explorer's also been stripped of all WPD markings and emergency police equipment. So I guess we're just looking for approval to send those to auction, and they'll go to auction May 8th and 9th. We'll take them out there one day. Both can currently be driven.
They cannot be driven?
Can be driven. We
They
thought we
can
were
be
gonna have to tow 4, but it's running well enough. We will be able to limp it into auction
So
without a
he's
tow truck.
provided the title for the 2017. I have to ask Maureen to check on the 2013, because we have to have the title when the car goes up there, so that it can be sold.
And there's certain things that you have to fill out and not fill
Oh,
out. They
there's
fill
just
out
a
some.
on letterhead
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
letting the go to auction, and I have to
Yeah.
give him the date that you approve that it can go to auction.
Okay. And that also requires a motion from us, it's not just notification, correct?
Because you're getting rid, I would safely ask you to do that, because
Mm-hmm.
we're asked for information as to, because they were 13 and 17, it's not like we're talking 1980s
Right.
that don't require titles or anything, so.
And do we get a report back after the auction?
Typically, after the auction, you'll get a report and you get a check with whatever they got for the vehicles, and they break it down per vehicle.
According to Mark Phillips, the Dodge is still supposed to get 3,000 to 4,000 just from the engine, Mopar engine. I guess they're in high demand since it's a V8 and they don't make them anymore. So we'll see.
Okay. All right, so I will motion that we send police vehicle number 4 and police vehicle number 1 to auction May 8th and 9th, 2024, at the state auction, and authorize Chief Moore and/or T.A. Bolton to sign the appropriate paperwork on the behalf of the town of Ware. And I said and/or because I'm not sure what you sign and what she signs. Is that okay?
Sure, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. We hope for good weather and good turnout.
Next item is a contract for the July 4th holiday weekend. This is an annual event where the State of New Hampshire Department of Natural and Cultural Resources reaches out to us and wants a 2-officer detail. It's gonna be for 4 days, 4 hours per day for each officer, plus a vehicle. Because it's a contract, I have to get approval to sign it, send it back in. There are no town funds used for this. This is all a police detail, and the detail reimburses us for the use of the vehicle, $20 an hour.
Does this create an overtime situation for patrolling the rest of the town?
No, so so how that works, just since you asked, guys can take off to work overtime as long as we have 2 on coverage, so they can't create overtime to go work somewhere else. That can't happen. That's a big no-no.
Okay.
So if we have, just say if it's a Wednesday where everybody's working, somebody could take off, but generally, people who are off duty will take this.
Okay.
July 4th, they get double time and a half, I believe, so that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
The rest of the days is time and a half. But it's all through the CBA negotiated detail rates. The total amount from that contract is $3,822. Yeah, there's no contract number or anything, it's just,
I think it says P37 first. It says the P37 contract.
that's a form number.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be the, DNCR, July 4th detail contract. That's how I would word it.
Any other questions, concerns, issues? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to authorize Chief Moore to sign the closed State Park Summer 2024 police detail with the New Hampshire Department of Parks and Rec, covering the period of July 4th through July 8th, 2024, in the amount of $3,822. Is there a second?
Second?
It's actually July 4th through the 7th.
7? Sorry, correction. 4th through 7. Does your second still stand?
Does.
Okay. All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Moving right along.
The radio infrastructure update. So Mr. Campana gave us a good summary of where we were at back in November. We were waiting on Trilon, which is the tower manufacturer, to provide us with the base plans for the structure. We thought we got those about 2 weeks ago, and we moved full speed ahead. I'm scheduled a meeting with two-way on site, fire department and DPW director, just so we could make sure we all know what we're doing moving forward. And we found out that those plans were just an example of plans and not the actual plans, so we're still waiting on the plans.
Do we have a date?
We do not. We do think it'll be fairly close, since they're sending us an example. That is the lengthiest part of this process. As far as the building permit, I've already got the zoning variance. As soon as I get the plans for the base, I'll go get the building permit. Everything's tracking. We're just waiting on those plans. And that's actually since September. We've been waiting on those. That's been quite a while. Two-Way hires a third-party vendor who coordinates with Trilon, and they say this is normal, it's nothing out of the ordinary, which is good. When we were on site, they actually said the ground had to dry more because they bring a crane in to put the tower pieces up. They're gonna store them at DPW and truck them in 20-foot sections at a time. If I recall correctly, it's a 120-foot tower. So it'd be 6 trips out there to get the tower up. But everything's on schedule.
I
as
take
far
it
as-
since we don't have the exact plans that we don't know yet as far as the volume of concrete.
Correct. That's what we're waiting on.
You did, you met with Jason though out there too, as far as digging whenever he gets the plan, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason was there. He's gonna dig around the site, put in the culvert. I believe, the pipe that goes to the building to run the wire. What was it? Conduit, there you go. I knew it was some kind of C thing. Not my area of expertise. But Two-Way showed them where they wanted it run. They're gonna go right through the back of the building. It's not gonna take up much space inside. We're gonna avoid all the mouse traps, a lot of them.
So they don't have a date for the drawings? They don't have an
Not yet.
estimate?
We have to wait on those plans before we do anything else.
But that's not gonna be 6 months though?
No, we think it's gonna be within the next couple of weeks, we think.
But now you did, as correctly stated, we have purchased all the equipment, correct?
Yes, we're pretty much done, and
That's what I thought.
I asked Beth what that total was. It was several weeks ago. It was just, so when the project started, we were at 1.4 million. The updated estimate was 700,000. Beth told me we're right around, it was either the $500,000 or $600,000 mark. I can't remember which one. And the only expenses we really have left are concrete. It's minimal stuff. All the equipment's been purchased.
Has the tower been purchased?
Yes,
Okay. So
Yep.
it's just the work of the concrete
yes.
and the crane and the work?
Yes, well, the crane's included, because I asked about that in Two-Way's costs already. That's part of their proposal. We did mention that there is a crane company in Ware. They're gonna look at them to see if they can do the work.
There's a
Usually
couple
they
of them.
use one vendor, but
There's a
yeah.
couple of them, yeah.
Yep, they're gonna see if we can stay local with that. But they're gonna do that. They're gonna walk through the site, since there was one wire on the northeast side of the building that may interfere with the crane. So they're actually gonna identify the crane company they're gonna use, bring them on site, see what they're gonna need, and then we're gonna have that all set up for, so once we get the plans, we're real quick to go and tower up. Anybody got any questions?
After you get the tower up, which, is gonna be a monumental task, how long before the actual,
I think it's fairly quick. So Goffstown has already used Two-Way to update their infrastructure. Once they put the equipment on the towers, it should all sync and we should be up and running.
so
Sounds
just
easy.
a matter of a few weeks, you think? Ish,
You know what? If it's by the end of the year, we're happy as, pigs in mud, so.
okay.
No false, we can only control what we can control.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to,
Plan for the best and
Yeah.
hope for the best, and
is it 2 months worth of programming, or it doesn't sound like any of that?
it sounds like the
Yeah.
tower's gonna go up really quick. Then they get, the guys who go up the tower, no real, it doesn't sound, this is not a months-long project. This sounds like it's gonna be fairly quick.
Okay.
All the pre-work's been done. I haven't confirmed that they've got the space on the other 3 towers, that paperwork's all done. That's all them. Haven't asked them that, but we had already confirmed prior to them getting involved that no reoccurring costs and no problems or anything. One tower's just getting us lower, and Two-Way confirmed that it wouldn't be a problem with us going lower on that tower, so.
Okay.
What's the set time on that amount of concrete?
Oh, I don't know.
It depends how thick it is and the temperatures.
No, I don't know, I'm not in the concrete business, so. They
That's about
usually
all I
call-
can tell you.
Usually call them up and they got 2 or 3 of them right in Henniker.
Well, there's,
Another one in Manchester.
yeah, Sergeant Montplaisir says there's a guy in Ware, he knows well, but I
Well, it
mean,
does
we're
the concrete work, but I mean for the actual buy concrete is, you call up.
Oh, gotcha,
Within a couple days.
yeah, it's,
There's 1 or 2 guys in Ware that does concrete work, but you might wanna make sure they're scheduled.
sure, yeah. We're gonna put it out to bid, and
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna, we're gonna communicate the expediency of this,
Right, I would
public
put-
safety
I would
issue,
put
so.
Yeah, I would put a put out the bid, I'd put some sort of completion date on it, so that.
Yeah,
it's straight.
no doubt. It's a good idea, thank you.
I could be wrong, this is just by memory, I don't see it in my notes, but I thought it was talking with Chief Rourke, so if I'm right, I guess this is a question, but, I thought the pieces of the tower are gonna be stored in the East Ware station.
We were talking about that, and when we went on site and looked at it, they weren't sure they could get them through the door.
Okay.
So Jason, he discussed it, and the easiest thing would to do is just store them at DPW. Jason has the, equipment to trailer them back over on the day
I
they're
was
needed.
I was hoping that was miscommunication, no, we don't have to do these 6 trips, but,
Yeah,
okay.
I think at the time we thought it was 10-foot sections, it's
they,
20-foot sections.
they are, but they're gonna put them at DPW in sections of 20 to truck them over.
Okay.
Okay. So I know you don't know the date yet on when you're gonna get the stamp plans, and that's kind of the hinge on the rest of the schedule, but can we get, regular updates on this going
Oh,
forward?
sure. Yeah, as I have new information, I put it out, but I haven't had anything since
Right.
November.
No.
Still waiting on the plans.
Now, we definitely know this is a very strategic project for the town,
Mm-hmm.
but we also want to make sure that we don't lose any money that might be left over.
Oh, no, we're
'cause
doing.
that's a large
yeah.
opportunity
Oh,
for us.
I get it, yeah, because that might be a truck for DPW or something,
It's
so.
something, potentially.
Yeah, you know, employee bonuses, what have you.
Lowering taxes.
Yeah, you can't use it for lowering taxes,
No.
ARPA money.
I was gonna say,
But
I don't.
if
I
it
don't-
offsets
I was gonna
something
say, I
that we
don't
then
think
don't have to
directly we
spend
can
money
do
on.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Who would you say is doing the plans?
The plans are coming from Trilon, which is the tower company,
And who's pushing on them?
two-way.
Okay. I'm assuming every day.
Pretty much, probably,
I wouldn't count on that. They,
regularly.
yeah, we have to harass two-way to get communication going out of them, so, but we're very persistent too. So,
Okay. Anything else on radio project?
Hopkinton,
what is it?
Hopkinton, Everett Dam,
Oh, yeah. So,
communication-wise.
what's the company? or
So,
the-
no, we,
Okay.
part of the connection, if you remember, Ricky was still on the board at the time, was the question from the chief was, do we sign another lease with Hopkinton Everett Dam in the event that and reserve our right to be able to go there still and have tower communication? So the answer was yes, renew. So what I
There's
send
not
you-
anything on that site currently, or there is?
There is on the site, but we won't need it once the new system goes up.
That's the hope.
Okay.
But we don't want to
So
shut
in
that
case,
door.
in case it doesn't go up without a hitch?
Correct. Naomi said better to keep it until we make sure we don't.
All right. I've read through what you sent today, but I don't know that everybody else has, and only having it a few hours before probably isn't enough time for the rest of the board to
I'll be back
look
next
at
week,
it.
so.
But my understanding is it doesn't expire for several months, so it's not anything that we have to sign in the next 5, 6, 7 days, so
It's in August, right?
August, okay. So we can defer
And the
that to another
effective date's
meeting.
August 31st of '24, and the
Okay.
termination date's August 31 of '29.
Okay, all right, so we can
Yeah.
put that on another night, please. Okay, thank you. Police dispatch?
Yeah, the dispatch is on there. Police dispatch RFP discussion.
So, yeah,
I'm
the guys
assuming-
informed me you were looking at a
Yeah, I was gonna say,
RFP.
I'm assuming that's why you're here, is because we've talked about RFPs that we're gonna potentially put out.
Yeah, so
and
that's
that
not
was-
gonna be an RFP, that's gonna be a sole source. There
Yes.
are 3 communication organizations which could provide dispatch services to us. Hillsborough County Sheriff's, Bow, and Goffstown. Goffstown just doesn't do, dispatch. They also provide IT services to the mobile data terminals, our computers in our cars, plus they are our server. So if we lost Goffstown, we would have to find either get our own server or find another hosting agency for all of our records, which means, and I'm sure Salem knows all this, data extraction and all of that. Doug, the vendor for the town's IT, looked at this last year. He was looking if it was going to be cost effective to get us our own server last year. He said absolutely not. 30 to 40,000 plus another about $700 a month to upkeep that server. He said Golftown already does everything we need, and it's much more cost efficient. So based on all of those components, no one else in the area is going to offer what we need for all of that. So I can get a sole source letter from Goffstown Police easily, so we don't have to put that out to RFP.
Is there ever a situation where Goffstown says, you guys are too big now, we can't handle you?
I don't think they would, because they base that on their budget. I mean, that'd be a discussion probably a year in advance, because obviously they're using our funding to hire personnel, to put it in their IT's budget. It goes into multiple places, because, I mean, it's not a small amount. I think we're about 70,000 annually, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, it's significant. But for us to do that on our own, we don't have the support structure for that.
Right.
You know, we'd be spending a whole lot more on vendors to maintain our server, to provide, you know, at least two more, probably three more people to serve as dispatchers if we wanted our own dispatchers. I mean, it's just not worth that headache.
Right, but the only escape plan, if it ever came down to, is we have to do something.
Or go to
Something
Bow
big.
or Hillsborough County Sheriff's, which would not be good options.
Right, okay.
We were at Bow.
This one just offered more in terms of service.
So I wouldn't
Features
hear,
than both.
when we went to Goffstown. I was here when we put the IT portion for our mobile data terminals under Goffstown, which added about $11,000 to the contract. The servers predates me too. I wasn't here for that. So, but like I said, I have talked to Doug, and he said he would tell you that you don't want to lose Goffstown, because it's more cost effective to stay with them, just based on the server alone.
Okay. All right. Anything else on police dispatch for chief? Okay. While you're here, can you tell us if there's anything, an update-wise on prosecutorial services? When we set the budget last year, or when we were in the process of setting the budget, it was a concern. And how are we doing?
So I don't recall concern.
Concern as far as dollar amount, whether or not they changed the way that you were gonna have to report to court?
Oh, right. If we need an attorney. So, Sergeant Montplaisir states he's not going, I got you. I see where you're going with this now. He's not going as much as he thought he was. We're managing. I can get you another overtime figure for him, because we have been tracking it. I just didn't bring that in here with me tonight. I thought you were looking at something else when.
No, it was just, from the standpoint of we thought it was something that
Right,
would have
correct.
potentially
Gotcha.
been a
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
And then about February, you said, nope, it looks like it's okay, but we're gonna continue to
Yep.
monitor.
Yep,
How we're
s-
looking.
Yep, we're still looking okay. We are still monitoring, we're still tracking, his overtime. He and Officer McGuire, have worked out something where Officer McGuire is taking all of the traffic portion of prosecutorial duties.
Good,
And
it's
so-
not just me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And, Sergeant Montplaisir's handling all the criminal aspects of it, so they've worked out that for themselves, nothing to do with our budget line or anything, so.
Okay, all right.
Which is also good, because it gets someone else training the process for when he goes on vacations, or Officer McGuire can step up and
Yeah.
handle those duties, no problem.
Okay. Anything else from us while you're here?
Oh, ma'am?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for coming this evening.
Sure.
Have a good evening. Okay, certainly last but not least, recognize Chief Rorick, please. Fire Chief.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
will start out, I'm gonna try to go backwards here for a second, just because the Sugar Hill, the East Station that the police chief was just talking about. We did get down there. I was not at the site review. I had training that day that I had to attend. But we went down and cleaned up the area in the station that was required. It was requested through email from the chief. There is gonna have to be some repairs done to that station hopefully prior to, it sounds like we got some time, prior to them getting the equipment in there. I have reached out to the town maintenance person. The door is like totally rotted off, the entry door. So the station's gonna need a little bit of TLC before we start putting a bunch of expensive equipment in there. The mouse problem seems to be gone. Only one this time in the past week, so that's good. So that's about it for the East Station. The Chief Moore did say something about, and it was mentioned in his email, about the wire running across for the crane, and they might have to put the crane on the other side and ask the property owner for permission and stuff. The wire that he is talking about is actually a power wire going into the station. Now, there's nothing we have there that requires that power line to be there, so I believe Eversource could probably just drop that line for the day, and that way we don't have to go on someone else's property with the crane and worry about messing up their property or anything, but we got time to discuss that later.
Did you mention that to Chief Moore?
I did not. He sent me an email the other day with just some of the highlights that happened in the meeting. So I will get with Chief Moore on that and see if that's possibly an option to do that.
Okay, thank you.
On the compressor for the South Station, the breathing air compressor, I reached out and they cannot get the part from Germany to fix that compressor. The factory will not make it. They do not have any in stock. So that kind of negates fixing that compressor. I did have, when the compressor started to have problems last year, other than this line that happened, I had reached out to a couple of different vendors and just started dabbling with some price quotes, and I found that paperwork, and it was anywhere between $52,000 to $68,000 in that range. There was 3 different quotes. Now, mind you, that was, 9 months ago or so. I'm assuming that probably went up from there. I plan on getting some new quotes on those same numbers anyways, for the model numbers, because it's just a smaller unit. We don't need anything huge on that. I did reach out to our mutual aid partners, and I talked to Chief Scott Hunter from Bedford Fire Department, and he is willing to let us bring our bottles over there to be filled if we have a couple bottles, and if we have a major incident. Bedford actually has an air trailer, which he said that we can just take the whole trailer and use that until we get our unit up and running, or we get one, or get it fixed.
That's very generous.
Yes, it is. Yep. And that trailer could fill bottles, multiple bottles, so, and when that needs to be filled, we could just bring it back over to Bedford, they'll fill it, and we could take it back again if we needed to, so. There is a couple of new people, that we're entertaining on the call force side of things, which is really cool. Just preliminary, but there's some interest there, so that's good as far as that goes. The White Farm, equipment going to the White Farm. So don't have much this year. We had a lot last year go. The 1987 engine, which is engine 1 that actually came out of East Ware, that failed the pump test multiple years in a row. I had talked to Jason from Highway, and he would like to procure that from the fire department. It's a 4-wheel drive. It is 1987 4-wheel drive with an automatic transmission in it, 1,000-gallon pump. So, and although the pump did not pass pump testing, he can definitely use that. He said to like wash bridges down. I don't know what else.
Yeah, we
What
use,
else the trucks are used for, but it seems like that's where all our trucks go to retire. He has almost a whole another fire department worth of vehicles down there. But this has a lot of compartment space. The body's still good. It still runs good. It didn't pass pump testing, and when you have a life on the other end of that line, you can't. It's different washing bridges than going into a burning building. So,
just to cap for everybody else here, they have one that's fairly similar, but it's a standard. And so,
yeah, that
It's
was the old
automatic.
engine 4, I believe.
I think you're right. So this automatic coming up would be better. There was, should know the name of the part, but we had a couple issues with that other one being a standard there.
Yeah.
So when you engaged it, the clutch would completely disengage sometimes. So this would be nice to have. that one.
Upgrade.
Upgrade, yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Use
this
it to
is,
jet culverts too, a special nozzle. They used to have it anyway that you put on it and can sometimes, not always,
just push it
flush
through.
dirt out of a culvert instead of hiring a real Vector truck. So they're handy to have if the town, no more than town need for it. 'Cause it's not like another fire department's gonna buy an 87.
Correct. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine, well, I wouldn't wanna speculate, I guess, how much the truck would go for at auction, but, it would certainly serve the highway department well.
This
The,
is probably a question more for Jason, but I think he
left.
did leave already. Can we auction the other one, do you think?
That would be up to him, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, do they have a need for two? Do you know? Do you know? Would-
I don't know what the need for two would be, but I don't know if he has a plan, a different one. I
Okay.
haven't talked to him about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I don't see why I'd need two of them ones. We ended up with their very first pumper the town ever only ran that until it completely, nothing would pump no more, and we put a chip body on it. It was a chip truck until it rusted right to death. Then we have the old Mack tanker still down there.
Yep.
When the tank holds together in it, it had a one-off poly tank that kept splitting, so that's the water truck for the roads.
Wow.
That's invaluable almost because very important piece when you're
yeah,
compacting.
and.
And washing
and
bridges is,
we're not buying it, so
Right.
it's just repurposing it.
yeah.
And just so you guys know, our utility truck that's currently our new one that we got, last year, the new 1-ton Ford, that's down at Donovan, that's getting the body put on it. That's still a couple of weeks out, and then it needs to be upfitted and radios and as such. The old Ford that we currently have with the plow, Jason also expressed interest in taking that truck too. So, that would not end up meeting the deadline for the White Farm if he didn't take it. We would end up keeping that till fall, but as soon as our truck goes online, then that truck could go to highway, if
Oh, is
that's
that-
okay with you
Will
guys.
that keep that was a flatbed of toolboxes on the side, right?
Correct.
Does
Had
that
aluminum
still have
body.
the toolboxes on the flatbed, or is that all getting taken off?
Nope, Nope, it's going as one piece, up there. There was some talk about maybe the body that's going on the new truck now not being really kind of what we want, but we're gonna make it work. So the utility will go up as, utility meaning the old Ford pickup, will go as one piece up to the highway department. If it was going to the White Farm, then I would have definitely made the suggestion that the back bed of that be taken off the flatbed, because it's really not that old. It's only about 5 years old, if that. But since it's going to highway, it's going to another partner, so just leave it on there as complete, and Jason can use it up there, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, it is with me, and again, them conversations started back when I was there, and I think they were with Jason. Not speaking for him, but, reason for that is that one of the old town trucks, and we don't have anymore, had a welder and an air compressor and some toolboxes that take tools on a road call, keep a small amount of tools in case of emergency during a snowstorm, weren't rounding them up, and town doesn't any longer have anything in the toolbox, they just gotta go on the backseat of the pickup or whatever, so that would be.
And it has a plow on it,
It
has
has
a
a plow,
nice
so
plow on
anything
it,
highway
so.
has should have a plow, so that's a bonus, and so it's got some toolboxes, you could do that, and if you ever, it's a flatbed, so if you ever wish to put a air compressor on there. That was the
Is it
talk
easy
we
to
had
bolt
back
down?
then, he should speak for it, not me, but I just, in case you guys are wondering why I would take that one, that was the reason, so we had something to act as a makeshift service truck, so to speak, without buying a service truck.
And the maintenance naturally has been kept up on the vehicles and stuff like that, so,
And we know the history.
exactly, yep.
Yeah.
So that's
So
on,
just a process question, how do we transfer ownership, assuming we're gonna do that? Is it just an agreement
I think
among the departments, or is there any paperwork
I'd
that we have to
ask
fill
Beth.
out?
I don't know if there's something formal.
Okay. I think
would
we've
go off
talked
of
about
one
this
list to the
before
other.
when we went
did.
through CIP, and I don't remember what the outcome was.
So we talked about it with a truck,
Yeah, it was an
I think it's
older
at-
truck.
yeah, it was at DPW,
It's a
it used to be a fire truck.
yeah, finance keeps track of your assets, and then your sheet says you know, so she would remove it from the fire and add it to DPW as far as, the vehicle of rotation and maintenance, that she gave you guys all those sheets too. I don't think there's anything that has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I think, I mean, it's worth checking, but I thought like title registration was like town of Ware.
Right,
so-
that's
It
what I
just
thought
says
too,
town of
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right, thank you, appreciate you
yep.
letting
You're
me do that.
welcome. I did, today receive a phone call of a individual that may be wanting to come back to the department. It was a, individual that was on the department before and had, left for some personal reasons and stuff, left on a good note, left on a good foot, but they possibly may want to come back and occupy the secretary's position, so be in the next couple of days, be working on that to try to see if that could come to fruition. And they are an EMT, so we'd be gaining another person during the day for 25 hours a week. So that's awesome. I did reach out, as you requested, to the retirement board. And they said between 30 and 60 days. So I would probably say moving ahead with the, moving ahead with whoever from either MRI or a couple of people I reached out to with some different people that I thought of. I reached out to a couple of chiefs around the area, and that it wasn't really favorable, so I'm gonna just stay out of that, because evidently the people I picked or whatever. I did reach out just briefly to Chief Olson, who was here before, and he has some commitments that he's going through now, but But again, that would be through MRI if you wanted, Chief Olson to come back for that period of time, that the 28 days or whatever, you know, to do that, but that would be between you guys and MRI to do. Good thing is he knows all the process and everything else like that now, so it wouldn't take, I wouldn't be taking 2 weeks to show someone else how to do this. He already did it, so there might be some, advantage to that.
So the 30 to 60 days is when they can process your retirement?
When they can process that, so like if we knew we had someone today, we're probably gonna be looking at my days off would either be in like July or August, you know,
Okay.
pushing it out that would get everyone on board. So July, possibly August, you know, going into the fall, which would be good because as you guys know, come September, October, that's all budget stuff again, and you're coming right back into that season again.
Okay, so I think based on what we talked about last week, the next logical step would be to figure out when we can line up someone
Correct.
for the 28-day,
Correct.
and then
And find-
figure out then what that date looks
Yep,
like. Is
what
that what
that-
I recall, correct?
What that date looks like, and then go from there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Okay.
we should probably frame it up for August,
roughly, yeah.
try to get someone in here, if we're looking. We can't say, well, sometime between the end of June to, August,
Right,
so.
yeah.
Exactly, and I guess need to clarify that. Is that something that you guys are going to be, the board's gonna be handling, or is that something that?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, I think what we were after was what the answer was at
Right.
retirement before we made the next move.
Right.
And I think it probably is us, not him, to reach out.
I agree.
But now that we have his time frame, that's kind of, it was crazy to call someone and say, hey, can you fill it for 28 days? I don't know when.
I don't know when.
but-
So I think that's probably the
Okay.
best thing to say, August.
That's what I was thinking.
But it's 30 to 60 days after you tell them you're ready, so. We don't wanna wait till
As-
August, right, we wanna try to find someone sooner than later.
Correct, correct, because then that gives a little bit of flexibility there also for them up at the state to, if I call them and they say, well, no, that's not happening now, it has to happen in, the beginning of the month or something like that, we're in mid-month, they're not gonna, I can't do that, so I gotta wait till the end of the month, so. I
Is
Yeah,
that- I guess
I would
the
say
flexibility
July,
would be what-
August timeframe would be maybe a good thing to ask for.
Yeah, if we worked with a
And I
third
think,
party that was gonna look, such as MRI.
Yeah, I was
just have to
about
kinda
to say
put
the
out
same
there that
thing.
we're looking
MRIs
for a
probably has
little
more flexibility than
yeah.
than an individual would.
It's kind of a little
Okay.
funny situation, but I don't see why we couldn't.
So I do think then that's the next step is to
Reach
either
MRI.
MRI or reach out to our mutual aid partners and see if anybody that's
Did you
currently
reach-
working
When you said
part-time.
nobody was interested, was it
I-
mutual aid partners?
I
I don't wanna pick up the phone and be laughing.
No,
again.
no,
Okay.
I did, one department, and I could discuss that with you,
Okay.
or whatever.
I
we
just
can-
don't
we
wanna be
can-
calling them again.
Oh, yeah, to have the same phone call.
Okay,
Anything else on that?
so are we clear what we need to do and who's gonna do it? Naomi?
Yeah, no, I-
Since it's you.
that's fine.
It's all on you.
Okay, okay, good. All right,
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. As I stated before, I think the new ambulance is in. Selectman Matthews came by, thank you very much. Stopped by, see the new ambulance.
if anybody gets intoxicated by the new car smell, you have to go see it.
Yeah. I did,
New car smell.
that's an expensive new car too. So I did do the paperwork here the other day at the town office, and I just have to go up now to Concord and get new plates for it. They could not transfer the plates that we had off the old ambulance, so I just gotta make my way into Concord. We're still, again, waiting on a radio. We can't do anything until we get a radio on that vehicle, unfortunately. So that's what we're working on now. With that, and I think that's it, unless someone has any questions. That's really my update for the week.
On the compressor, a couple weeks ago, you mentioned you were looking into a grant.
The grant for that is already closed, so that would be something we would be looking at for next year. Now, I could tell you that when I was at the Concord Compact meeting a couple months ago, there was some talk about the area chiefs that are in the compact getting together because everybody is looking for SCBA's, and, you know, the chances of getting a grant are probably a little bit better than if we get 25 air packs versus 300 air packs are gonna, you know, press the price point would probably be better. And I know some of those chiefs are also looking at compressor fill stations. So if we did do a grant for next year, it would end up encompassing air packs and the filling station also to that. But there is a 10%, I believe, I would have to check, I'm almost positive it is, but there's a 10% that we have to pay on the town side of that bill, whatever the total amount of the bill would be. We have to.
If you're taking 10% and you're putting that over multiple towns, it's a
It'll
lot
be-
less than,
Yeah, I mean, it would be
$8,000.
10% of our total, of our total. So,
Does that wear out our welcome with Bedford?
what's that?
Will that wear out our welcome with Bedford? Because that's a.
Chief Hunter was extremely gracious. I do not see, unless we have some kind of major event, I don't see us needing the air trailer. Going over and filling a couple bottles every now and then, running over there if we have to top off some stuff. I don't see that being like a huge issue with him. And we also have, you know, our partners in Goffstown too, which I did not reach out to Goffstown, as of yet to see anything, but.
Yeah, I just don't want to end up in a situation where we wait so long.
Yeah, it'll wear out your welcome.
The
Yeah, no,
uncle nobody
understood.
wants anymore, so.
Yeah, understood.
So you're gonna put the homework and do the logistics of a group going in on that grant?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. And that's, like I said, it was talked about, so I'm sure that that's gonna be brought up in meetings along the way now to get in prepared for next year
All right.
for that. And especially where there is so many towns going in, usually the manufacturers have a very good handle on grant writing and everything because it's been out there so long.
a few things for next time. I don't expect you to answer these now, so I don't know if you want to take notes or not.
Sure.
The most recent town report, page 111, there's a table in there that goes back about 10 years of the calls and disposition of the calls. Can you explain that to us? At another time.
Okay.
Not now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want you, I know I'm catching you cold with all this, so.
Okay.
When I was preparing for last week's discussion, I went through and reviewed a lot of Board of Fire Board minutes and things, and there was a couple meetings in which Chief Olson, or Interim Chief Olson, talked about preparing a strategic plan. Did he complete that, and if so, can we get a copy?
You absolutely can get a copy of that, and yes, he did complete that.
Okay.
And we are working on the strategic plan, some of the things in the strategic plan required the budget passing with money naturally. The things that do not require money that we can do internally, those things we are working on, I'm working on, the department's been working on,
Okay.
so.
And the last thing is, I believe it's called the emergency management document. You were getting an outside firm to update that. Can you give us a status on where that is?
Still working on, still in process. I sent over, Beth had sent me the most current hazard mitigation plan that we had for the town, and I sent that over, up there via email. And the next thing to do is to sit down, actually with Jason, with the road agent, and start gathering, places and vendors that he would be using.
Okay. Well, maybe it's like next time you give us a general update on what's
Sure.
done, what needs to be
Sure.
finished, and timeline for it.
And one thing I actually, which I'll probably either catch up to either Naomi or Beth, is I have in the office an approved vendor list. I don't know, I'll have to look to see what year that is. I don't know, is that something that we update every year? Or do you even know what
Is
I'm?
it a small
Okay.
3-ring binder that gave like all the?
This is probably about that thick, and it has everything from, like, if I wanted to do electrical work, it has all the vendors that are town
Pages
approved.
fold out?
Correct, yes, yeah,
That's something we put together when we were doing some work on buildings. It was actually something that Selectman Cahill shared those vendors with us. It was nothing that, it just gave you some samples to reach out to.
Gotcha.
I don't know if everybody's still in business or not,
right,
but there was a lot of,
Yeah, I wouldn't
all sorts
classify
of
it as an
things.
approved vendor
yeah,
list.
it's nothing that we did approved-wise, it was suggested.
okay, I just didn't know if that was something
when
that
you
I
look for
could
3
use, or
quotes.
if there was something, a new copy of that the town had any kind of, no, okay, fair enough. Good thing I didn't send that out to them. Scrap that.
Yeah, okay. Anything else for us, chief?
Nope, anything else from me?
The last couple of 2 or 3 weeks on and off in other business, somebody had emailed about the fire vehicle.
Yeah, I thought we talked about that last week, and correct me if I'm wrong, that really isn't covered under the policy
Okay.
for fire, and we were gonna
I thought that was a
expand on
question, and I
that.
was like, well, if you see her, might as well,
Yeah,
No,
no,
I had a question.
there,
unless you all had.
just to answer your question,
addressed it
there, was shared with me, and he may not even be aware of it, is what was shared, remember I said, do I remember seeing something? It was a section of, I don't even know what police department, in their policy, they talk about the use of the vehicle. And I think that's where they were gonna head, but nobody ever did anything. But it
Okay.
talks about a police department, and it said original, so it's nothing the Board of Fire Wards has adopted. So
Okay,
it has to do with the explanation of the town provides a vehicle for employee use, and it went into, but it does talk about police and the chief of police. So this was a sample that somebody grabbed as maybe something they were going to do and then didn't.
yeah, so last week I think we decided, if I'm not mistaken, or at least we talked about, when we update the personnel manual with the fire updates, we will expand on that section.
Yeah, and to answer, and we didn't know what we were gonna put in.
Right.
And I guess, the background is a couple of people have emailed saying, hey, I saw a fire vehicle out and about, like, at a restaurant at lunchtime, and we're sitting here like, is that even a problem? Is that something you already had a policy about,
Yeah, I mean, we know that
If you're on duty,
fire's a
like-
little different because they have the 24-hour shifts, so,
Yeah. So, I'm not trying to put you on the spot with this one either, but it's something we're chewing on.
yeah.
Yeah,
so
no, if
maybe-
there is ever anything you want to know about where that fire cruiser is, you guys, or even anyone in the public, I encourage them to stop by the station and talk to me one-on-one, or go through you folks, or whatever. I can assure you that, that fire cruiser, if it is out somewhere, it's on department business or something like that, you know? I use my personal vehicle for my personal stuff, and the fire cruiser is used for fire department related either functions. The fire department cruiser does go out of town occasionally. I'm in Manchester, I am in Bedford, I have meet with other chiefs that I'm around. We do go out to lunch occasionally. So if people see the cruiser around, yes, it does go places, but I highly encourage that just gets talked about. And if someone sees it somewhere and they want an explanation of where it is or why it was there, I can certainly give you that, 100%. Because I really don't want anyone to think that I'm out up at my camp in Pittsburgh with the fire cruiser or something like that, you know? Out gallivanting with it. I don't.
Yeah, I think, I bring it up more so that when because we want to codify it, like write it down, so when we do, make sure it makes sense to, you know.
Yep,
How it's being
anytime you get anything like that, please come to me and ask me. I will definitely give you an answer. So you can talk to those people or respond back to them and tell them what's going on.
Fair enough.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. And I'll have that stuff for you next week.
Thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned at the onset of the meeting, we are not having the finance administrator discussion this evening. That will be rescheduled. So I think that brings us to an update on sugar and spice. Nehemiah, I think you had some more information.
Yeah, so we aren't gonna be able to finalize tonight, because I need a little direction from you guys. I did forward you the information that Primex had reviewed, in regards to, and I attached the property card. As they indicated, it appears that they're looking at it's underinsured with respect to claims based on damaging the premises. $100,000 certainly does provide coverage for a lot of things, but major losses, as unlikely as they might be, would exceed that amount. Ideally, they would bring that amount up for something approximately current replacement cost value. Ultimately, though, it's gonna be the town's decision on needs and priorities/needs. I hope this helps. So that's the information I got back with regards to their concern with the 100,000, 500,000 amount.
So if I read the property card, and I'm certainly not an expert in the assessing
It was
department,
built in 1926.
but it looks like an amount of 250,000 would be
Yeah.
more appropriate than the 100 or the 500.
Yeah, and they've always, over the years, had to do, as the Elise says, they've done upgrades, they've done some things to it. The parents that are involved usually have to get involved. There's been some carpentry work, but it's always been, you know, hey, we're gonna be doing this, or they take care of their plowing. Now, I'm not sure, somebody ran through their gate, they're getting quotes. You'll see the black fence that's up, because somebody went off the road and ran through the gate.
Ooh.
So that's being worked on. They haven't come over here, because they feel it's theirs, so they're working through that as well.
Okay,
There's also a market cost new, 320.
320? Okay, guess I missed that. So, do we want to ask Sugar and Spice to update their insurance rider to a new amount, and if so, what amount?
That's what I need, you know.
Right,
Well,
Oh, okay.
that's the question to us.
Can they just do replacement costs? Will they be able to get a policy for replacement costs? Or
Would
does
be
it
the
have to
320?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm willing to ask them whatever you guys want to decide.
Yeah, I think that's a question.
Yeah, none of us, I assume, want to put them out, anyway, but it is our building, and it would put us out
Right,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
and if we had to make if there was anything that happened, and they were underinsured, it would be on us to make up the balance, and
Yep.
that's not good stewards of the taxpayers' money.
Yep,
That's my thought.
yeah, so I do agree with Selectman Pratt, like a replacement cost makes sense.
Okay. James?
Okay, so I'll just reach out and tell them you're looking, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't finish the table, sorry.
That's all right. I was actually looking at their injury and, at $1 million and $2 million. I'm wondering if that was.
Pretty standard.
You know,
That's what mine is at home.
okay,
And hopefully I'll never even come close to that.
right.
So, yeah.
I wasn't suggesting bracing.
Yeah,
I was
and
thinking-
yeah, and
was
I don't
wondering-
have people in and out like they do.
Right.
Yeah. We're kids.
Especially hearing that somebody just
Ran through their fence.
Yeah, which is part of the playground, like.
Yeah, isn't it?
It was.
Was anybody in there at the time?
No, they weren't there.
Okay, good.
It was at nighttime.
Was this the storm a couple weeks ago?
No,
No? Oh. Recent?
it was recent, it was after the storm.
Okay. So you're okay with the replacement costs?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Benji?
Yeah, I, at least have them look into it. If for some reason it's 3 or 4 times more and they wanna negotiate, I guess I don't wanna close the book on it, but.
Yeah.
doesn't
Sounds
hurt to
reasonable.
ask, I guess. You know, especially for building, I know, I know when it comes to equipment, that the town doesn't have replacement costs on hardly anything. So, to ask somebody else to, I mean, it's worth looking into. If it's another $100 a month, then fine, but. Like, you don't put replacement costs and stuff on plow trucks, you can't afford it. I looked into that.
Hmm.
I think the fire department's the only one that has that.
Okay. All right, so I think that brings us to our last agenda item, other than the normal standing things, and that was the RFP for legal services.
I don't know if you were ready tonight or not.
Well, there's some things to talk about, I hope everybody's ready. April 7th was when draft 1 was sent out, and I highlighted several things in red, but hopefully you've looked at the whole thing and we can figure out if there's updates, changes, concerns, additions, deletions, whatever it is. So, I guess first off, is everybody ready to talk about it?
It looks like this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right, so I guess start with the stuff in red, and then we can come back and work through everything else. Obviously, once we submit the proposal out, we'll have a date and time. The first paragraph regarding summary and background. Other examples had information about who the current representation was. Some also had any information about whether there were or were not any current litigations going on. Didn't know your thoughts on that. We could also, if we wanted to mention current litigation, we could say that it will be continued through current representation, not transferred, or something of that nature. It doesn't necessarily have to be transferred. I'm not sure it would be wise to transfer
Yeah.
active litigation.
Agreed. And the only thing I had to add in there is land conservation. You don't have anything in the summary or background. I don't know if we want to add that in.
Okay. What are the thoughts about adding the representation in litigation? In or out?
And I'll ask if this is appropriate or not. When we do the audit every year, we have to send it to our legal representation, and the question is there ongoing or anticipated? I'm not sure if those questionnaires, as they come back, are part of the audit. Is that something we could share with them as information, instead of putting it in the RFP? They're available. The information's available. You could go back in the last couple of years and look at those letters that are part of the audit every year. And they come directly from, the audit company sends them to each of our attorneys that we've used through the year.
Mhm.
And then the company sends back a letter to the audit company, and we get part of the audit includes it. So
Mhm.
they could look at those,
Okay.
get an idea.
That includes the litigations that
Yeah,
that
so
were
what it does
handled.
is it's a brief explanation of they're currently in litigation, or do they anticipate is another question, is kind of maybe what's going on currently, do they anticipate it could be something? You know, I don't honestly have the words for every,
Mhm.
but that's what the questions are asked on behalf of the audit. I think those could be looked at, that's information. Without saying, we anticipate so many lawsuits, you know what I'm saying? That's, further information in regards to current and past, we could give them that.
Okay. Page numbers.
As far as current litigation, maybe just under scope of work, we reserve the right to maintain.
Yeah, I'll just add something, and I think it'd probably be better in the summary background about current litigation. Will stay with current representation.
Okay.
Just something that generic. Unless otherwise negotiated or something like that.
Yep. Oh, sounds good. I just had under scope of work, I just had instead of and monitoring the third sentence, as well as monitoring and representing the town. It's kind of I was reading it's kind of two different things, but.
One more time, I didn't hear that.
Where it says, after presentation, where it says and monitoring,
Uh-huh.
put as well as monitoring and representing the town's interests.
Okay. Okay.
And paragraph 2 below there, or item 2, just below that,
Mm-hmm.
you have agencies and in court, should be and.
Okay. Page 3, the governing law, do you know if that is correctly stated as Hillsborough County Superior Court?
We're actually, what we are is we're in Hillsborough County, north.
North?
I think it's north, one in Manchester.
Yeah, I just guessed on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, professional liability,
Can you back up to that?
Yeah.
There are times you're in the federal court level too, not just Hillsborough County.
or federal if appropriate.
I would think so. You could say superior, supreme, or federal. Because there's a couple of layers before.
So is that then appropriate to say any claims arising out of the contract shall be brought only in? The only would have to come out.
Yeah, only, yeah.
Okay. All right.
You got one more, just spelling. You got points on page 2. You got an E in there. Proposal should address all the points outlined.
Found it. Okay. On page 4, the insurance requirements, maybe we can get Primex to just tell us if these are reasonable. Okay. So those were the reds. Okay.
On 5, on page 3.
I'll page number them when we're done. Number 5.
Item 5, you got B, years of, is that supposed to be years of municipal law practice and then kind of go to, D should be C?
B and C should be merged.
Or is it years of, and these are,
Something else, I don't know.
and these are part of D, but just subcomponents?
Oh, it's on page, I think you took it from Swansea.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'm
so if
looking
you
at
look
now.
at-
It's on page 2, I think.
Yeah, it says the legal,
State the size of the
and then
firm.
it should be years of municipal law practice,
Yep,
so it should be together.
okay. Okay. Okay, got it?
Let's see, so I have just a few things. So starting at the top, the summary and background, it says, second sentence, the town operates with a 5-member board of selectmen who meet weekly to manage operations, but that won't strictly be true if we stick with our summer schedule as proposed.
Okay.
I don't have an alternative.
Nope, I can meet most weeks.
Yeah.
Want to say regularly?
Yeah. And then, I think Dave covered this already, but presently the town includes yada, 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 and then I had said, what about planning, zoning, and conservation? And then skipping back down to proposal requirements. Number 1 does not end in a period. Number 6 does not end in a period.
Want them to end in a period or no?
As long as they're consistent, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then the references start to the space, the next major section.
Yep.
And then I think insurance as a major section is indented when it shouldn't be.
Correct.
That's everything I had.
Okay.
On page 4,
Uh-huh.
under submissions information, the second paragraph, second sentence, you have the town's services, the right should be reserves, I believe.
Yep. Good
Then
catch.
the 4th bullet, you have contact, should be contract. I think you want to get rid of the "and" at the end of that one.
Okay.
I think that's all I have. Oh, I did have did we want to include anywhere arbitration, or is that not really something we want to throw in there?
Under the
Yeah, under
proposal
5,
requirements on 3,
as-
arbitration.
as
Page
under
3.
item,
That-
page
that's
3,
here,
yes,
yeah.
5.
Sorry, they're not numbered, but I wrote them on my sheet. Arbitration, experience in arbitration.
Litigation and arbitration experience.
Okay, add that to D.
Yes.
Okay. All right. other than Primex verifying the insurance is reasonable. If I make these updates, I think they're all formatting and/or very benign changes. They're not really substantive changes. Are you okay with us sending it out, or do you want to look at it one more time?
I think it should go out.
I'm good.
Nothing earth-shattering.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I heard nods of everybody's heads. Okay. I will make those, we'll get Primex insert or change that as appropriate.
Yep.
And
It
then
looks,
send
it
it
looks
out.
right, but I'll just double check.
Yeah, I think it does too, but I didn't want to assume that because the municipal aspects of life are somewhat new to me. So just because it works that way in private doesn't mean it works that way in public sector, so still learning. Okay, good. We will get that done then. All right, so that brings us to minutes. April 8th,
Manifest or minutes?
manifest is next. You guys skip that? It's all right, thank you. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated April 25th, 2024, as included in the following manifest. Payroll, $85,917.02, and accounts payable manifest, $154,910.12, correction, for a total of $240,827.14. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor, say yes. Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Motion passes 5-0. Would you pass that down, please? Okay. All right. Minutes, April 8th.
Line 25 says when contacts, I should say when he contacts. That's all I have.
I had line 54 after vehicles, add work. Line 150. Digression, should be discretion. And line 218, add it after into.
Add what, I'm sorry?
It, IT.
Oh.
Anything else? Okay. Make a motion to approve the April 8th minutes as amended this evening. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain?
You're all set.
Okay, April 15th?
Were those out?
Yes.
Came out today.
Yeah,
this
Oh.
so if you're not ready, that's fine.
I haven't looked at them.
Okay. All right. I think we need another week to look at April 15. Okay. Administrators report.
All right, so we got the sugar and spice. I do need to find out from you, I sent you an email from last week with regard to the transfer station update and landfill cap repair. I sent you some dates that we'd like to do a virtual meeting. Doesn't matter. I just need to post it if we're gonna meet virtually, or if 2 out of 5 of you make it. Looking at Thursday, May 9th, there's 2 sessions. We can do either 9 to 11 or 1 to 3. Monday, the 13th, we could do 1 to 3, or Wednesday, the 15th, we could do 1 to 3. I offered to provide the Zoom. We have a Zoom. I don't know if anybody's had the opportunity to select a date.
I guess the first question is, do all 5 of us want to go, or will it only be 2? So that would dictate whether or not we have to post a meeting.
Yeah, either way, if 3 of you go, I have to post a
Right.
meeting, so
No,
if
but
you're
if it's only the
available-
2 new
yeah.
people, then
No,
we don't
if
have to.
there's 2 of you, you don't
Right.
have to, but,
That was my point, sorry, I'm not sure if I articulated that appropriately, but, so do you think you'd wanna go hear it again, online, during the day?
No, and I didn't respond because I was just gonna go with whatever you guys wanted. If I could make it, I could make it. If I couldn't, I couldn't.
Okay,
So I'm not, I'm all set really.
okay,
I can't do anything during the weekday right now.
okay.
okay.
And
And,
it's the same thing for the IT request. I'm flat out.
yeah,
We
so,
figured that's why you didn't answer.
Been so busy.
Okay.
and, you know, I heard the information, would it benefit me to hear it again?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know that, enough that, you know, to be the dictator of when the meeting happens, so.
I mean,
I'll
because
leave it up
they're
to you
in May,
to-
if you guys haven't looked
Yeah.
at your schedule, I'll just leave it on there.
Thursday works best for me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are pretty full for me.
What's that?
My Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are pretty full, so Thursday's the best day for me.
Okay. I think you guys would get the most benefit out of it, because we all went on the walk.
Yeah, Thursdays generally work better for me, but this is gonna be,
Yeah, it worked better for him too,
so
so,
it's gonna be tight. I mean, it doesn't work great, but it works better.
okay. Morning or afternoon?
Probably afternoon,
Works for me.
probably.
And, is Jason gonna be on the phone
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, Jason.
Good.
So I'll write back and set up Thursday, May 9th from 1 to 3. Is that okay? I'll send
It's
you
only
both.
gonna be like an hour. Well,
Yeah,
You
she-
gotta set up the block.
She said it's for
yeah.
2, but she said it'll likely just be an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
think
mean,
the
we
whole
went 2
walkthrough,
hours,
yeah.
We walked it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the whole walkthrough was only like an hour
I
and
think
10
she's
minutes or
anticipating
something.
maybe questions,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Because there's
No, I'm just-
3 of them
yeah.
from DES that are gonna get on as well.
Is it the new person that replaced the
Yes,
gentleman?
The new gentleman and,
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but when you say it, I'll go, yeah, that's
yeah, I
it.
don't remember it either, I didn't,
Okay.
I just printed the first part of it,
But we know who the replacement is.
yes.
Okay, good.
So that was what time?
I'll send it to all of you just in case, but, you know, the link. But let me know though.
Well, I was gonna say,
post.
then we need to decide now if we're gonna post it or not.
Well, just, you got till May, May 6th, you can let me know if you're gonna get 48 hours. so.
Okay.
Is there any harm in posting it and then
and then-
like a quorum
No,
doesn't show, but you still have like
absolutely
a meeting that the public could listen in on?
No, I don't have a problem
That's
posting it.
that's an even better plan.
It's safer.
Yep.
Okay. Building permits, I just emailed them to you through today. She added today for some reason. She took away the color, and just has blocked it out by the weekend a little darker. I
Okay.
do,
Are there any issues with any ones that are,
I'm sorry?
are there any issues with the building permits that come up? I know it's given us a list of them, but.
Yeah, it's gave them a list and Jack caught them all up last week that are
Okay.
sitting there. I don't know, these came in 22, so I'm not sure if they're sitting there waiting, to answer your
Yeah.
question. I don't know if they're waiting.
Yeah, there's nothing that you know of that's a problem at the moment.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of this problem, because he caught up all last week's.
Okay.
Finalize, there's, I have to say, I have Jason's signature page, but I got no idea where his review is, because nobody handed it to me. So I can review this one signature and put it,
We didn't give them to you,
well,
at this
the
point.
chief provided me his.
Oh, okay,
And I provided you my copy.
okay,
I just don't have, he signed it.
okay.
The chief, and I both added a employee comments, so I don't know if you wanna take them, look at them, or what you wanna do with them. I don't have Jason's to add to it, that's all I'm saying. So, once they're signed, they would go in the employee folders, but I don't have his. It's just a blank sheet. All right, we did the, legal, we're gonna put that out to bid. We're going to, the Hopkins and Everett lease for the tower would be on 4/29 for another week. Tree removal at the cemetery, I just would like to, I asked the question because I thought it looked like the same tree. There was an email that came, from them with regards to damage to the solar light.
Is that for the flag? I assumed it, the light was for the flag.
The light, yeah, so when the tree came down, it took some of, it evidently hit the light, the solar light. Oh, I had handed it to Jason, that's why. You guys all looked at it, so I'm just trying to find it, because there's two costs associated with it. One to take down the one tree by the light, and one to take down the larger tree. So I'm not finding it right away. Oh, it's right underneath here, that's why. So the request is for the flagpole tree removal of $225 and the heavy branches removed of $175. The contract doesn't include these larger removals, so I told him he had to send it to him. Usually, we've always got quotes ahead of time, but he's cleaned it up and is now looking to be reimbursed for the cleanup.
And if my public math's correct, it's $400. Yep, okay. That used to be a joke where I worked. My
Okay.
public math was correct.
I mean,
Sorry.
it did occur inside the walls, again. I mean, I think we would be remiss not to take it from the cypre money. But you guys have to approve it so that we can, finance makes that.
I don't think that was the same tree.
I think Jason confirmed.
No, he confirmed that, because I didn't go over to the cemetery, so. I mean, I did go over to the cemetery, and that's why all those little red flags are there. There's little red flags marking out different sizes of lots for people that are looking at them, that's all. But I
And
didn't go.
you did those?
Huh?
You did those?
Yeah, I didn't go down, that was in the very new section, I didn't go down to the old section. So to do that, you'd have to spend the money on cypre, and do you want me to look at getting into some quotes for the solar light? Because the solar light puts the light on the flag, there is a flag there,
Yeah, we either need to take the flag down,
Down,
which
right.
doesn't
or
Does it-
light it.
go high on my priority list, or light it, yeah. So, yeah, we need to either
We can look at, I can look
get
at solar
quotes or take
lighting.
it down temporarily. Does it have light on it at all?
I don't believe it does now.
Okay.
Well, it looks like there's 3 lights on it. Looks like one is down.
Yeah, I can't say if they're working or not.
Yeah,
There's
it's
damage
hard to
to
see
one,
during the
yeah.
day if
If
it's
they're working,
working,
yeah,
yeah.
that's one thing, but yeah,
Yep.
there's 2 left on there.
So I guess the first order of business at this point is to approve the expenditure from Cypre for the $400 for zero-turn work already completed. Is that correct? And this is for which cemetery?
It was, they're both at Pine Grove.
Pine Grove, okay.
And I'm not mistaken, this was not something we had discussed before, right?
No.
So I would just ask, before we approve this, as part of the payment, say, hey, please don't do this again.
Well, they probably thought they were doing us a favor.
I don't disagree.
So we
I'm
should
glad it's
say
cleaned up.
thank you.
But
But please let us
we
know
can't
before
just
you do
leave
work in
open
the
loop,
future.
expenditures.
Yeah.
Well, is this the same one that told us about the tree in the other
No,
cemetery?
no,
Okay.
this is the gentleman that's actually out there doing the leaf blowing and the cleaning up now. He came across it. Different person.
Yeah, so I agree, but it's thank you, but,
You're right. And even to say,
yeah.
please let us know in the future if you see issues that need addressing and are interested in addressing them.
Yeah.
Like, because that saves us the work of having to go and
Right.
find the problems and
No,
find somebody to fix
absolutely.
them. But we need to approve the money before it gets spent.
Yeah, okay. So I'll make a motion that from the Cypre account, we spend $400 for work already completed to zero turn on, you said Pine Hill?
Pine Grove.
Pine Grove Cemetery for tree removal. Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, that's done. Go ahead with, get some information on how to.
Quotes on solar?
Yeah, solar update. Okay.
Okay, we did this. Non-public minutes, Janice, you had sent around something, there was some discussion which Salem had done earlier on about we need to amend the non-public minutes policy, so you took the opportunity to draft.
Yeah, I took his notes.
Yeah.
And
Are you ready
his
for
red
that for
lines.
tonight, or?
We haven't scheduled it, so we can schedule it for some other time.
Okay.
I'm not ready to talk
Yeah,
about it.
we
haven't
really
looked at
should
it well.
allow people to prepare. And especially since some of them didn't participate in that session,
Okay.
which the notes came from, so
A week or two?
probably two, because next week's really
You're gonna have.
got a lot.
Yeah, you've got a lot with your finance, that'll be a
Yeah.
while.
Finance and the volunteer appointments.
Yep, and you've got some Park and Rec kids they haven't gotten to yet.
Okay.
Consent agenda, Janice, you had sent around that, and then I found one for Boscawen as well, that can be a future agenda.
Yep. I'm not concerned how far we push that out, simply from the standpoint of we are signing the things. It's
Yep.
just how formally
Yep.
are we recording that in the minutes?
Okay.
So I don't want it to go too long, but it doesn't need to be,
Doesn't have
next
to be
week or the
next
week
week.
after. It could be a little bit farther out.
How about if I put May, June?
Yep.
IT discussion, Salem has said he can't do Wednesday. I don't know if anybody else can meet with us Wednesday, or do you want a different day?
I cannot meet on
I know
Wednesday.
Janice could not.
I told Beth if no one else can, I'll try to work remote that day and make it in. Just let
Okay.
me know what time.
And does he have to,
I get a standing appointment at 11:30 every Wednesday, so I gotta be available for
Yeah.
that, but
is later afternoon the better for you? Only,
That
I have a meeting at 1:45 on webinar for an hour, so, yeah, let me, so Dave will be the rep. I'll just make the appointment with him. Is that the consensus?
Yeah, I think we want to understand what the issue was and how he's going to make sure it doesn't happen again, and how did he resolve it this time, if he was able to. I don't think he was able to, though.
is he gonna give us a formal response to the?
Yes,
Corrective action.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
he's
if he'll be
supposed
ready
to,
to-
because I took
yeah.
what you asked and sent it in an email to him and said we expected an answer to these questions.
Yeah, I was to say, I don't know if he'll be ready to address
I
that
don't
or
know that
not
he's
on
arrested
Wednesday,
Okay.
No, probably not Wednesday, but
Yeah,
just
but maybe we can get a
wondering
date from him.
overall.
Okay. So, appointments, reappointments, yes, Janice, we have for April 29th.
Okay.
The other thing is I was met today with the Director for Parks and Rec, and there's 16, because it was the decision prior to meet all of them. The note that I had said existing and new. So there's 16, I was gonna plan to divide them between the two meetings, because I think last time we interviewed maybe 5 minutes, if the most. I scheduled them 5 minutes apart, because it's just, they're all underage, so their parents have to bring them. I'm trying to get them to split between the 2 weeks, so it's not all in 1 week,
Okay.
if that works. ZBA appointments, I've reached out to the 3, and those 3, out of those 3, 2 cannot, I'm sorry, 1 can't make it, he's gonna do the June meeting, because he has a commitment already. The other 2, I didn't hear a no from, so I invited him to the May 7th meeting.
Okay.
I also, granted, I just emailed it to you very late. I emailed you the, what we had done for RFP and custodial. I did it in Word to make it easier for you.
Thank you.
And then, I also tonight, last minute, took a stab at giving you where I stuck the 4 policies for the fire department. It's a little clunky, but you at least have it. I've highlighted the 4 sections. That came out late, too. Interview the fire department, there's still 2. I'll do my best to get them as best in here. They are local, so we did the one on the phone. Non-public, the 26th ones, I did not grab them from Maureen before I left today, so I don't have them, Janice.
Yeah, when I was reviewing the minutes policy updates that Salem Selectman Bloom had drafted, it kind of jogged my memory that I didn't recall approving the non-public minutes from 3:26, so I asked Naomi and she confirmed we haven't done that yet, so we need to
So they're in Maureen's
formally
office,
accept
we
them.
would technically get them, open them up, and do that, but I didn't grab them before she left.
Yeah, so it's just a few minutes action.
It's just that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's
that one
one or
meeting.
two lines and that's it.
Items, I have changed a couple of dates down to the action items to be addressed. It's actually not on the front page. If you flip over to the back page, Mr. Merrill called me from Florida. He's the second bullet down. He's asked for June 3rd. I had May there.
Okay.
So he's asked for June 3rd. So that, we will move forward on June 3rd, because that's when he's back.
And if I remember the conversation, this has already been seen by the planning board and everybody else has said
Yeah,
everything's
Bill
good.
Drescher had done a very thorough,
Right,
from top to bottom. It's been to planning, it's got legal representation, and then it's set for a while, then he came to us and shared that. And I believe I shared it with all of you, even the two new persons, because I
yeah,
thought we
I
were
was just
coming
trying to
in May.
recall that, I thought my memory was that
Yeah, the
planning
RSA
was done.
report is, it means it's up to you.
Okay.
I moved the Center Square headstone repairs. An application's been filled out. I haven't mailed it yet, but I filled it out with the quote attached to Mildred Hall, as you asked me to do. It should go out tomorrow's mail. I took out completed. That was just a big waste of space. The rest, I don't have anything more to add. I don't have a further answer on your article for East Road, because town council was on vacation last week, so I don't have,
Okay.
that's the only changes that I've made on here. Do you not want, I just asked this question, do you not, because you're doing reappointments to boards, do you want me to push all the kids onto the 6th? Is that what you want me to do?
Well, we can talk about that when we look at everything that's on the agenda.
Say that again?
We can talk about that
Yeah,
when we
well,
look
I-
at everything that's on the
when we
agenda
do
for
it
next
down
week.
below, right.
Yeah. Move over there now or not?
Yeah, all I did was blank out.
Okay. We definitely have to get these volunteer interviews moving. You've given us a matrix of the positions several weeks ago. Can we also get a list of the applicants before next Monday, the reappointments and the new, everybody, just a
So you have
tally?
you have no news. All the new requests were for ZBA.
That's it, okay.
You have one for finance, which I've given to Mr. Morton. But the 4 that I had, I haven't gotten anything more.
Okay.
3 were ZBA,
And
1
then
was
finance.
finance.
Okay,
So I forwarded the finance, and I have the 3 who are all going to the ZBA. So
Okay.
they would, well, except for the one that can't, 2 of them should be coming in on the 13th.
okay. So do we have a list of the names of the people
Oh,
that are
I
up for
can- yeah.
reappointment?
Sure.
Okay. That would just help us, I think, prepare.
And you do know, you recall, there's 3 or 4 for conservation, and I believe Andy had said that Sherry was gonna do a 1-year, and the other would, that lines up your 322. So I'll put that on there too.
Yeah, so do we have to change her appointment?
She's gonna do the 1-year versus a 3.
Okay, it's hers is a reappointment.
Hers is they're all
We don't need to
reappointments.
realign
Yes.
her.
No.
Okay, all right. So can you remind me the count of those?
I don't have them with me, but I can.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to think from a.
Yep. I didn't bring it downstairs. I had given a list before, but I
Yeah.
don't. I didn't bring it down. I can go upstairs and get it if you want.
If you've given it to me, I probably have it in here.
It was in a prior.
I'm just trying to figure out from a agenda item duration.
Okay, I sent it with, do you want me to go get it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That's, I was gonna say, I remember doing something like that.
So there's 3 from cable.
Yep. ZBA you're holding off on.
4 for conservation.
Planning board had 2. Parks and Rec had 2. Trying to do it off memory.
Parks and Rec had 2. Planning board has 2. So that is 11.
Yes.
So how long do we think it will take to do 11 reappointments?
Conservatively an hour. It's a little more than 5 minutes each, but 5 minutes is a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 minutes is a long time. I was to say
Okay.
maybe 3. That's 30 minutes.
Maybe 45 then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but can we split it and say 45 minutes then? Because some will be quicker than others, but on average.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know some of these folks, we don't know others,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, among us. So we do that in budget, and then, wrap up Sugar and Spice and Hopkinton. That's a pretty full meeting. You don't wanna be here
Chief
till-
Moore was coming back, remember? Didn't he say he'd be back next week
He did say that.
He did?
for the update? He's meeting about the foundation, so I think he's coming back with an update.
Okay. Okay.
You
That's a
could
pretty
do,
full
you
night.
could do the Hopkinton with him.
Yeah, I mean, that's, hopefully everybody reviews it and it's just a 2-minute discussion if that, so I don't see anything controversial in it, but that's why we have 5 minds and not one. Because you guys find things that I don't, and I find hopefully things that other people don't. Okay.
So with that being said.
So I guess the question then was, do we want to do all of the park
On the
employees
6th.
on the 6th? And I think that's yes.
Okay. I haven't
Question.
reached him yet, so.
Good? Okay.
So you have pledge allegiance, public comment, open pledge allegiance, public comment, Chief Moore with an update on the radio, and we can sign the Hopkins and Everett Dam lease, finance, 45 minutes or so for 11 appointments or reappointments. I'll give you an answer for Sugar and Spice, manifest minutes,
Yep.
and then tentatively set 5/6.
Yep. Okay.
Sound
Everybody
okay?
good with that?
Okay?
Okay. Are you done with your administrative
Well, I just
report?
wanted to, just so, I added, I'm waiting on, Park and Rec's gonna have something too. Clay reached out to me for the scope of work for the playground, not for the playground, for the, for the library, sorry.
It's a different kind of play.
Yeah.
It's a mind play.
And then the Parks and Rec had expressed, I guess around the playground fence, there tends to be some grass that needs to be weed whacked or something. It's never been part of it, so,
Cub Scouts went and did that last year.
yeah, so I have that to add.
And playground, is that the one over here by
At
the
Bolton.
school? Or Bolton?
No, at Bolton, at Bolton. It seems to get very long, but it never seems to get, it never got into the contract. Therefore, I have a note to add that. I know you guys, I think you're trying to meet this week, Park and Rec. I just want someone to make sure that I didn't forget anything else, that's all. Other than that, IT, cleaning. Consent agenda. Oop. All right.
Anyone have anything else for Naomi? Okay. Anybody have anything else that we need to discuss before we adjourn?
Let's see. I think we need to talk about Winter Road. We've had
Talk about what?
Winter Road.
Yes, but I'm not sure how to approach that. Any ideas?
So we've had an ask. We have some information. The question we need to answer is what information, if any, to share. And I think we may be able to given that it was legal, advice from legal, we may be able to have a more frank discussion in non-public.
Okay.
Open to
Thoughts?
suggestions.
I don't know. Nothing helpful.
Nothing helpful. Okay. What do you think?
Probably be better to have a conversation.
Okay. Can we see if we can schedule that next week then?
I thought we'd just knock it out.
Oh, now?
But you're at the end of the night. I still have a null screen, so, but I
Yeah.
think it's still working,
Okay.
because the time is still ticking, so. I haven't
Okay.
checked my phone again yet.
I do have a couple things before you
Yeah.
get into it. So I just did want to bring up that Conservation Committee did their site walk Friday at Duck Pond. Did their assessment, and they're pondering the circumstance. The Barden property demolition bids are going to be open at the next conservation meeting. Everything was found to be okay, so as far as the abatement, there was nothing found in the other structure, so there's no issues
They
there.
have that confirmed. Good.
It was confirmed, yes. Did want to bring up, so I've been here for a month. I know you used to go over the attorney fee breakdowns on a monthly basis,
Yep,
and I haven't seen that happen.
okay.
And where are we with building inspector?
So we had one person come in, dropped an application, and he was supposed to send me a resume and a cover letter, but I have not seen him. Interested, I still only have the one, he was the second one.
So that
He
would've-
filled out the application,
Okay.
but your advertisement says cover letter, resume, application. He wasn't prepared, is going to send it to me.
So we're gonna wait and,
I'm
See
not gonna
where that
wait too
goes.
much longer.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did have a question, building code ordinance. Who updates that? Because 2023 Article 4 changed the building code from the 1993 to 2018, and the ordinance still says 1993.
Yeah,
Is there an
I
official?
could ask Katie to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's done by town meeting, so that would be, I would ask Katie to do that. I could do that.
That's it.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, then I'd like to motion that we go into a non-public under, or is it a non-meeting?
Is L for legal.
The legal, L for legal?
Yep. little mnemonic there.
Sorry, that, I can't hear with that.
No.
I was just thinking,
Oh.
it's section L, it's, subparagraph L. Whatever it is.
So it would be under 91A, Roman numeral 3, subsection, or section L. Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote since it's a non-public. James?
Yes.
Yes.
Salem, yes. Janice, yes.
I'll abstain.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. 401 to go into a non-public session. Let us know when you're ready to
Oh.
turn off the.
Yeah, sorry.